moment when you go, whatever it is. Could be, why did I talk that way, act that way? Why did I get dressed this way today? Because we all have ways of expressing ourselves. But as I taught last time, I taught about how to find yourself, and I called it my ascension path. Living under pressure, I become the greatest version of myself as I choose to complete my challenges. Who am I, where am I, what am I doing here, and where am I going? So I feel like this is kind of the foundation of what I'm about to talk about today. So if you want this from last week, grab a picture of it. I only have 2 copies left, but the one I put in front of you today is a lot more open. There's no real questions on it, just some pictures, some opportunities for you to explore what those 4 questions lead us to. So the topic of today is deconstructing reality. And this is something that I was doing as a child that I didn't realize. The one thing I did realize is that I was always asking the question, why? And my dad was very much in resistance to this. Looking back now, he was in ego. He was living in his masculine of, because I said so. That was mostly the answer I got when I said, why? He would say something, this is how you do this, or this is what I think of that. And I would just look at him, from the time I was very, very small, and just go, why? Well, why do you do it that way? And why do you think like that? And it was something that was innate in me, something that was in my cells, something that was in my blood that I didn't even think about. He would also tell me to think before I speak, and I realized that was also a no-no for me. I receive energy as emotional feeling, vibration, and knowledge. I'm claircognizant, so when a feeling comes in, I instantly have an awareness of either why it's coming in or what it means for me, and usually the people around me. I am here to assist people through the ascension, so I consider myself an ascension advocate. Anytime someone in my life is struggling, whether it is through physical needs, mental, emotional, I'm able to connect with their higher selves and to tune in to what is going to bring them back into their path, back into alignment, back into their consciousness, so that they can start to see themselves. Because part of what this world does to us is it puts us into distraction mode, where we wake up, usually we go to work, we have task A, B, and C. Usually for most people it's the 9 to 5. You go home at 5 o'clock and you continue on with what comes next. Dinner, cleaning, cooking, kids, family, and then you go to bed. And because that has been a common trend in society, not only ours, but many other countries have become those people, the human doers and not the human beings. I feel called constantly to bring myself into peace and to hold and to anchor in that frequency of a still mind and a conscious heart. And that's all our job is. That's the coolest part of being a human being, is that we could literally sustain, maintain, manifest, and live in abundance, and have no outside needs, outside attachments, outside detachments. So anyways, we're going to get to what is it in our lives that is keeping us in that state of asleep in any area of our life. Because remember, you're based off of at least a 7 or 8, depending on what you feel and believe. But you have chakras, and each chakra represents a different part of you. Your foundation, your creative center, your power, your will, your love, your ability to speak your truth, your ability to see possibilities, see visions, and of course your ability to connect with source. And so as we move through those, each of those are connected to something in our life that is outside of us, until we are able to rein it all in and remember that it is all inside of us. So The box at the bottom is called the box of balance. And I would like for each of you to take a minute and write in what your day looks like. Now try your best to do it based off of time. So if you spend 8 hours sleeping, then sleep. Hello, welcome.
Hi.
Come on in, have a seat. Make some.
I apologize for barging in so late.
No, you. Any time is on time here. No worries. We're glad you're here.
Okay, I'm glad.
Yeah, thanks. All right, so we just, oh, there's a paper there, perfect. We're just gonna get started. One short? You have one? Okay, we're just gonna get started on the bottom box down there. We're talking about how we can start to look at our life and break it down into energy or time or finances. So whatever you want to value your life with. I like to value my life with energy. So how much energy did I expend on getting ready this morning before I came? So how much energy do I expend coming to work? So however you want to divide this up, this is just a self-analysis, no one's gonna see it. So, and there's no order, there's lots of boxes down there. So everybody, welcome Jen. Oh, so sweet. Time out. Come on in, thank you. It's the perfect time to take a break. Everyone's writing down what is going on in their lives and what is pulling their energy.
Do you want to hold it up to the, or I guess I can hold it up to
Sure.
the camera so people can see what we're doing.
Is that there?
Let's get and hold it up to this one too. Okay, perfect, thank you.
So we write down like what we want our priorities.
No, not what you want, what they are right now on a day-to-day. So if you spend, think about it, if you were to work the average day, 8 hours a day, what is 8 hours of your 24 hours? Or what is, if it's a very stressful job and you're like in anxiety and you're overwhelmed and you're running around and you never can catch your breath, I would say that's probably closer to 75% of your energy for that day. So however you want to value either your time or your energy, we all know that the state of mind we're in right now, we have a limited amount of both. Yes.
And as an example, what would we put in the first box?
Work. For those of us who do go to work Monday through Friday, work would probably consume most of your time and energy.
Okay.
Next would probably be relationships. Another would be cleaning or house chores or errands. Some of us don't have the 9 to 5, so maybe they spend more of their time volunteering, doing service, exercise. So as you guys write those down, I'll talk a little bit about what brought me into balance, because that is our goal. Why deconstruct reality unless we are ready to find balance in what is going on in our lives, inside and outside. So I've been working with many mentors and personal development leaders throughout my life, and we talk about pillars of life or elements of life. And those would be spiritual, mental, physical, emotional, nutritional, relational, financial. And as you look at all those different aspects of your life, how much time and energy are you consciously choosing to put into those areas? Now, unfortunately, we do a lot of things unconsciously. So go ahead in one of those boxes. How many hours do you tune into your device? Is this nonsense? Is it going to be something that is educational when you're looking at a device, whether it's your phone, your computer, your TV? Those are types of distractive moments in our life, distracted moments. I'm probably going to say a couple of things that you guys aren't going to expect about what distractions really are to the human soul. However, think about everything that distracts you. Think about everything that you would maybe just discount. Like, oh, I don't really do that for very long. I only go to the bathroom for 5 minutes. Well, how many times a day are you using the restroom? That is part of your nutritional element. Are you disposing of the waste? The waste in your body and the waste in your life. Because we do have a time in our life where we get to observe things and decide, what do we need to cut out? Who do we need to cut out? Because just as we put toxins in our body, we allow toxins in the environment around us. Febreze, #1 neurotoxin. Don't use it anymore, please. I love your brain. You should love your brain too. And so think about those type of things, not in the boxes, but as we move through this conversation, because each of those topics have toxins hiding in them. The things that we do in our life, there are distractions in those areas. There are toxic people, places, and things. We'll go with nouns. We have toxic nouns in our life. So, all right, finish up your thoughts. And we'll bring in some new ideas of where we can go with this. So before we had our two extra special visitors show up a little bit later in the morning, we talked about, I'm gonna go incomplete for you, what I was gonna say. Before we got into the boxes, that's what it was. What I taught, last time I taught was about a month ago, and it was about self-awareness, self-acceptance, self-expression, and self-love. And so a big part of me is personal development. I wasn't spiritual. I had no idea that, what I was learning at church wasn't the whole truth, that there was something outside of religion. But what I did know is there was a lot inside of me that I wasn't being taught growing up. So I did a lot of personal development, 20 years of personal development, many mentors, many seminars and retreats, many, many books. And what I found was that if we can look at the cycle of self-awareness each day, what is it about me that I'm not paying attention to? What is it about my relationships that I'm not tuning into? So in those boxes, if you have the word relationships, maybe it's a spouse, maybe it's a best friend, ask yourself, in that specific relationship, or the top two, what is it that you can observe about the relationship that brings you joy? And what is it that you can observe about the relationship that brings you density, any sort of pain, fear, guilt, shame? And if there's nothing, that's okay too. But we're just gonna try and look at each box from two different perspectives. The perspective of light and expansion. These are things that are helping me to expand who I am, bring me joy, maybe even bring me peace, because remember, peace and joy are best friends. And then there is that enlightenment, where we get to sit in both peace and joy, and then receive. And that's what I think we're all looking for in this state of being, is that we are ready. Most of us have been givers our whole lives and people pleasers, and we are ready to receive. We are ready to turn the tables, flip the script, open up our hearts, speak our truth, and begin to receive the relationships, the jobs, the friends, the finances, the nutritional health, the physical health. We're ready to receive it all. So if you want to take a minute, look at each box, see what it is about that box that either brings you into joy or brings you into chaos. Chaos is another word for density or ego. Something that you're not in alignment with will create chaos in the physical body and in the mind. And in order for us to reach a state of peace and joy, we do need to start eliminating the chaos in the mind. So, unraveling, defragmenting, completely taking apart reality. Let's hit some heavy topics. So I want to hear what you guys think. Now that you've all kind of brainstormed, you're going into yourself and what's going on with you. I'm gonna list 3 things that I consider the most detrimental distractions on earth. We have religion, we have the medical system, and we have money. And when we set our focus and our attention on any of these three, we are placing our foundation on something outside of us. First off, that's what all of these topics are about. Are we placing what we believe and who we are on something that is outside of us, or on that root chakra, on who we know we are, on things that we have proven to ourselves? And in a system, we call it our testimony. What is your testimony of yourself? Now, for a lot of us, we start off with our stories. I know who I am, this is where I grew up, these are my parents, this is where I live, but all things that are outside of us. So can we start to identify who we are? Let's deconstruct our reality of ourselves. So, what's the persona that you've created for who you thought you wanted to be after you look at everything in your life? Everything you give your energy to, what is that intention behind the family, the friends, the job, the religion? What is the intention there? What is it that you are trying to create in your life? Or what persona are you trying to create? Who do you want to become? Who do you see yourself as? So we're gonna deconstruct the parts of us. So has anyone had a time in their life where they went through something I would call extreme crisis, something they weren't expecting, and all of a sudden they saw a new side of who they are? A new persona came out from this moment. Yeah? Do you wanna share?
Well, recently.
Then give us a little piece of that.
So I've been in resistance for quite some time. I'm very good at intellectualizing and rationalizing the need for change. I'm super heady, and I didn't feel the authenticity or the truth of the things I would think in alignment with my heart. I have a really, really wonderful partner, a very powerful person, very authentic, that reflects back to me when I'm out of resonance, out of alignment. And there's been this resistance that's gone back and forth for quite some time. And so recently, after hopping on my motorcycle that I purchased really out of a compulsion to satisfy my ego, I took it for a spin, and beautifully enough, I created a situation where the universe presented an opportunity for me to crash my motorcycle. And what was affected was what I was in resistance to on my left side, my feminine divine, my resistance to accepting change, my resistance to subduing my egoic mind and living through my heart. And hence the heart's on the left side of the body, which, that's super critical. And 8 broken ribs and a week in the hospital, I've had some time to really reflect on what my priorities in life are. And that's the magic of doing stuff like this anyways, it really is. That life gives us all sorts of opportunities that we can see them as either stumbling blocks or stepping stones. And I've had so innumerable amounts of stepping stones. And every one of those came with a story. And all of a sudden, or I should say stumbling blocks, and every one of those came with a story. And I realized that they're stepping stones once we put them behind us and we move on. And a stumbling block is the story that we continue to perpetuate or live in our daily lives.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so going through a crisis, going through a traumatic event gives us an opportunity to take a higher perspective. And that's how we begin to see our true selves. So there is the you that you think you are, and there is the you that the rest of the world sees. And sometimes, most of the time, those are not the same people. so how do we bring these two different versions of ourselves into alignment? Become the observer.